Hey, sometimes I accidental answers.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
It flips the image.
I love it.
That's hilarious. It says welcome
And like I
to
said, it'll be starting. I think.
Game Developers.
Yeah. So if you go.
So it's been a weekend of clean.
Yeah, it's worldwide.
But they've been here.
All about it, like,
Because there's like things going on live sites.
Right. Any audio?
Yeah.
Should be. It's live, by the way, so you know, don't pick your nose.
And this is the YouTube live stream. That's pretty freaking cool.
You have a microphone up there?
No, it's gonna be coming out of here.
It's
I'm just making sure you can hear it.
I think
Yeah.
that's the first time I saw
Actually, it's
it.
picking it
Except
up
for the
too.
first night, maybe it was 6:30.
Computer.
Between 6:30.
The site in New York City has 600.
Right.
Just in New York. This is only one site.
Oh.
This is only one site.
Yeah, all right, cool. Fix it up just fine.
A couple hours, I think. Yeah, that's like office new.
Alrighty.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. But we've been trying to do like the one scene they were trying to block. Like scene or whatever. An escape attempt.
Right. So, ready to do the presentations for the Global Game Jam 2019. They're live streaming on YouTube and the website, and for all the people watching.
Person watching.
Hopefully that everything goes smoothly. Yeah, I guess let's get started. Who wants to go first? Who's ready to go first?
Yeah. Should we be seeing this here?
Yeah. I mean, I could go. No one else is ready.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
If you, I don't know if you want to. Yeah, or we just like.
We could Roshan both do it.
Yeah, that's why you guys are ready. You go
It
ahead.
looks like it might be timed it, but should we be seeing this on the screen?
Leave it on.
Should you be seeing it?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing showing.
On which screen? Oh, my laptop?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
My laptop's picking up the audio, so I can't play it or there'll be an echo.
Oh, okay. That's what we were looking at. We're like,
Yeah, no. You're here live. You don't need to watch it on the screen. Yeah, no, I just pulled it up over there to make sure the audio was picking up properly. There was one year where we did it and there was no audio for like 20 minutes until someone messaged me on the boards. I was like, oh, dang it.
Do a song and dance number.
Yeah. Oh, and I'd just like to say thank you to Oak Hill Collaborative for letting us use the facilities. It's been a blast. We had lots of food from all sorts of people. Nick's mom brought us breakfast the other day. Pat brought us pizza for dinner yesterday. And Trina from Freshwind Catering brought us some delicious chicken rolls. And then lots of coffee. Lots of coffee.
that's why the echo.
I've been hanging out all year.
All right.
I think my skull is in it.
you have to just say your own.
Make everybody dizzy. A little thank you for our sponsor.
It's funny because it's picking it up and it's displaying it backwards.
Once in a while.
trying to do, maybe it's reflection off the table.
Sound is the key. Keep it off. Come on, baby.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful if we put the lights out. Oh, yeah, I meant to turn the lights out. Ha! Yes. Oh, PowerPoint. No. No.
That-
It's working sometimes.
Can you switch it real quick to the solar? Yeah. Just so I can find it. I just don't remember which one it was. Oh, you'll find it. It's, yeah, just QR. It wasn't QR. Yeah, just- I'll try it. I believe it was. All right. All right, so the main idea with it, we were trying to make a game, but because of learning the new technology for the AR, and there's a Vuforia. Vuforia, yeah, it's an AR that recognizes 2D images, pattern, and extrapolates it into the 3D space. So we basically made a tech demo instead. We have 4 icons, one's home, and then we have the sun, so we have dynamic lighting. Try pulling it out of this. Seems like it's working for a minute. Yeah.
This is popped into it.
Oh.
Well, it's other.
Yeah, other things that work, but it's supposed to have dynamic lighting. I don't know what's coming up. Then the other things we had were plant life. We also had a cloud. Go to the right. There's a little.
Where's this?
Oh. Let's do it over here. Like triangle work. Good angle. It's good.
It's working.
Crash and burn.
Yeah, which is the scaling is different for that target. That's why the distance isn't exactly going to work that way. Yeah. But yeah. Theoretically, we should have interactions between these separate targets that modifies the house's environment. So just use your imagination.
Games.
But yeah, that's
That was basically it. I do have
I didn't know
videos that prove it working.
I didn't know these were. Yeah, there's like, you can see the leaves that's growing out on this part.
Sounds like good.
Bring the lighting along this way.
That was just. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's.
So that's it. We stole it for everybody else. So just finish your game.
Hey, the proof is
Next.
Cool. All right, who's next?
I might do that next.
Cool. Go for it, Jeff.
I just didn't want to follow Jeff as well.
Oh, Jeff, you're still connected.
Everybody didn't pull some from the ground.
all right.
That's weird. Yeah, but it was picking up all the other ones. So.
Yeah, it would have been like green.
It's now, it was picking up the sun.
All right, so the theme for this year was what does heaven mean to you? So the idea I came up for that theme was somebody kind of looking back through a photo album and kind of reliving moments from their childhood, and especially like moments that involve their mother. So it's kind of like like special moments. These memories growing up with your mom and just kind of reflecting on them a little bit. So it's the only way I could get this game done was to do text-based because like I'm not an artist. So the easiest way to get this done was text. So it's basically kind of just like a more of a story than a video, like a game. Really, there's a few moments where you can interact with it, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'll just jump through real quick. There's some ASCII art, just to kind of some semblance of looking at like a photo album. And then, yeah, these are really the only interactive moments. But like, so for instance, this is a kid remembering him or her playing in the backyard playground. So I was using the swing. I swung too high and fell off. My ankle broke when I landed. Mom took me to get a cast. I cried nonstop, but Mom tried her best to comfort me. So, you know, it's just those kind of moments. And I'll just jump through the rest of them real quick. But, yeah, first car. Then graduation. And then spoilers, but like it kind of ends with you reflecting back on you know, home. You've moved away from home at this point, and you're just kind of remembering, just kind of reliving those. So, yeah, you can play it if you want. It's up on the Game Jam website, but it's pretty simple, straightforward.
Awesome. All right. One or the other?
You want to go?
Mr. Nick?
See you later.
There are no other
See
names.
you there. Alex.
It's either you or Alex, or Nick. Alex. Oh my God.
Mine's not ready.
We can go.
No, all right. You guys go.
You good?
Yeah.
Just stared at you and calling your name. I'm so sorry.
So we were trying to figure out like what actually makes it home. If I feel like that used to be my home, but this is also my home. So home isn't somewhere. Home is always somewhere you can come back to, but it doesn't have to be the same place over and over again. And we kind of use that theme in our game, which Oh, okay, sick. Yeah.
Should probably drop it.
Yeah.
Oh, also the game's name is Home Sweet Homes, which is kind of like a play on Home Sweet Home, but you got multiple homes.
So when we were doing the brainstorming, we came up with this idea, trying to boil down as simply as possible what home means or can mean. And we sort of decided on home is someplace that you come back to. So we wanted to create a gameplay loop out of having the player leave a safe area, but providing incentives for them to go back and then venture out again, creating sort of a circular loop. So the simplest way to sort of get around doing that was creating a sort of top-down shooter, and you acquire power-ups, and those power-ups don't get actually applied to you until you return to the home safe area. So you start out in a sort of simple room like this, and then once you venture into a new area, enemies spawn in, and you can shoot them with a sort of regular weapon. And this orange thing right here, that's a power-up, and what that does is increase the weapon's speed. Now, we didn't want you to be encouraged to just grab a power-up, head home, and then head back out. We wanted to have a little more risk and reward, so we had the power-ups overlap on each other. So the more you grab on your adventure outside of your home will overlap with each other and combine their properties. So this power-up that I just picked up, the red one, is a weapon that spreads shots out. And combining with the increased speed or rapid fire one will create a weapon that shoots in a spread with rapid fire once I return.
And then our third power-up is a bouncing function that lets the bullets ricochet off of the walls and the enemies. So now he has a faster shot with a spread function on it that has a limited amount of ammo that's seen in the top left corner.
Under the A.
And the reason there's a ammo counter is we want you to get back home, but if you go through the rooms you've already entered through, the enemies double. So if you use up all of your resources to kind of make your way through the map, you're kind of forced to continue on a different path to try and find your way back home before you get overwhelmed and die and don't make any progress.
This way, players go, because there is a goal outside of just leaving. There's another sort of home location that acts in the same way. It'll apply your power-ups to you, and it's safe there. Enemies don't spawn. And the original idea was to do some sort of procedural generation. You reach the destination home, a new map would generate, and a new destination would be set, and you progress to there, and so on and so forth. We had absolutely no time for procedural generation, so this is just a handmade map with a starting home and a destination home, and when you reach the destination home, they swap so that your destination is to go back. But this sort of let us experiment with what we talked about, having the enemies double in number when you come back to a room, because with having this sort of circular gameplay, going outside of the home and then coming back to the home, I didn't want it to be a straight line backtracking, because I realized that could get boring. So I wanted to provide some disincentives to just retreading over the same path. So by trying out new rooms and trying a circular way, you'll be a bit safer and encounter less enemies than you would if you were just cutting a straight path both ways.
Yeah, and then additionally, this is my first time getting into animation, which we didn't get to put all the animations in, but the soundtrack we wanted it to have the soundtrack kind of like as you establish a new home, you get a new soundtrack, and that's what draws you back. The closer you get to it, the more you'll hear that soundtrack instead of the background music. And then the closer you get to your new home, you'll hear that soundtrack. And then once you establish that home, it switches. And I made a couple modular pieces of music that combine together, and they just randomly pick one for your new home. And that ended up being like 160 different tracks that are going on. And for the Game Jam submission, that will be in there with, and it'll actually be audible. But for this, we were just
my laptop is having audio problems, so yeah.
But this is home sweet homes.
Awesome. Cool. I think that's everything. Unless Alex.
Yeah, we may or may not have push codes.
All right, let's do it.
Keep the string alive.
Using Jeff's computer.
No Washington.
I don't even know if I can see it. Is there a way to zoom in on that?
I don't know.
Might not even be necessary.
Magnifier, like accessibilities. That's what
All right, my game is entirely text-based.
Oh yeah.
So my game is a play off of the home folder in your computer. It's a custom file system, and it reflects like an actual house the way it's laid out. So if you look in the home folder, the home room, if you look in there, there's a foyer. So you can move into the room known as foyer, which I just did. I don't know if you can see it down there.
Yeah.
Move to foyer. Okay, so now we're in the foyer, we look around. And now you can see all the rooms that are connected to the foyer. There's a dining room, hallway, office, and upstairs. Now if I say what room, shows me what's in the room. There's a lamp and a coat rack. I can look at the lamp. It came out a little weird, but it tells you what the object is, and there's a description of that object. Now, where it starts to get interesting is, let's see, if I look at the room that I'm in, I've got some options. So I'm going to move upstairs. All right, so you may have noticed that the little prompt thing at the beginning changes every once in a while, and I'll get to that in a second. I didn't expect it to pick that one so soon. There's like a 1 in 15 chance or something that happened. So if I look at the room I've got up here, right, there's nothing else. There's the foyer. Okay, there's nothing else upstairs. But I can create a room, and someone give me a name for a room. Be anything you want. Bath. Great room, bathroom. I think that would. Okay. No, I wish it would change, but that's okay. Okay, so now if I look at the room, you'll see that there's a foyer and a bathroom. So let's go in the bathroom. All right. So if I look, see what's in the bathroom. So, there's nothing in the bathroom. Okay. Someone give me something to put in the bathroom.
Tissue.
Toilet.
Oh, okay, toilet.
Yeah.
That's not how you spell toilet. Toilet. What do we want to say about the toilet?
It's stink.
It flushes
No.
counterclockwise.
It flushes counterclockwise.
Very stinky. Created the toilet. Now if I, what room? There's a toilet in the room, and I can look at the toilet, and it should say very stinky.
All right, so this has changed again, and we didn't notice. Now, we haven't seen anything yet, and I don't quite have it working as nice as I want it to. But the idea behind this is you can pretty much create and destroy like any object or room in the home that you want. But as you do that, things will start happening just kind of randomly. Like if you've been at home alone and it's dark and you think you see something and then all of a sudden it's gone, or like you think, you know, there's all sorts of weird stuff that happens in your mind. The idea of the game is that things will change and like morph without you really knowing it. Like there are things happening potentially in other rooms right now that you can't tell are happening. So sometimes objects will move, the prompt will change and things like that. I have a lot of functionality in the code that didn't get implemented. The only thing that I have right now is objects getting moved around rooms. And I want to see if we can find.
Is this game meant to be scary?
It's meant to be unsettling.
Oh, okay. Well, this part again. It's
So you're not supposed to know all this as you play. You're supposed to figure it out as you go.
Let's go here, and then move back to the foyer. Okay, sweet. That didn't take very long. Did you notice that there's a little symbol down here now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't there before?
Yeah.
That means there's something else in the room, doing things in the room.
Well, thanks.
That,
What is it?
well,
Can we look?
I'm glad you asked. Each symbol is meant to have a something tied to it, and there's only one symbol as of right now, and that is a ghost. And so what the ghost does is it'll show up in rooms and it'll take an object and move it to another room. And I don't know if it's going to move any of these, but it may or may not. Let's just go to another room. Let's see if there's something weird. I can't remember if I put anything weird in the other rooms.
Do the changes happen after a certain amount of time, or are they based on when you do it?
It's I have like a command system that every once in a while will be like, hey, do something. It'll just like tell any of the like I don't know, wild cards, if that's what you want to call them, to to mess around with stuff. Okay, so there's also a kitchen that you couldn't see before because it wasn't connected to the foyer. Now it is. Let's see what is in the hallway. Oh, okay. Well, this is a great example.
I knew it.
There's a ghost in the hallway, and there used to be a closet in that hallway. I know because I put it there, and it's gone. Okay. Maybe it's in another room.
Be cool if you put in the how to play. Like it helps if you make a map, and like if people could make like a handwritten map, and then they're like,
Yeah.
"Wait,
Okay, so I'm in the kitchen. What? Now there's a closet in the kitchen now. It just ended up in there.
And a ghost.
And a ghost. Yeah. Well, because there's so many commands going on, I think it shows that like it makes a new ghost like like every 5 inputs right now or something like that. So we've put in way more than enough inputs to get like there's probably you can end up with multiple ghosts in one room. And let's start tossing stuff across the room. Yeah, I didn't get too much time to test this, as you can tell. I'm just as surprised as you are. And a little prompt thing changed again. Yeah, so that's the game. There's no end goal. You just play it, and things happen to you, and that's about it, really. You can also quit. Well, there's. Let me see some other commands here. Help. You can type in the name of a command or a target. It's all text-based and command-based. So you have to type in a command and then a target. And if you type in all, if you want to see everything at once, the game says no. So what you have to do is say help and then say, if we want to know what creating stuff is all about, put in create. Use this command to create targets. So you can say create room or create object. There used to be room sizes. I took that out. I just need to change that text. But yeah, so you can create rooms and give them names, and then you can create objects, and those objects have descriptions. And the idea is you can create objects and destroy objects with descriptions, and you can move them, and you can put them pretty much wherever you want. The idea being that object might not be there later. It might just totally disappear. Entire rooms might be moved into other rooms, and the rooms might get disconnected from rooms and connected to other rooms, and you might get stuck in the basement and be like, I can't get out. And so the game has very little mercy on the player in terms of its randomness. So at one point, I was trying to get I started implementing it, but I didn't finish, where like sometimes the game just won't let you quit. Like you'll put in the quit command and just be like, no, I can't quit. Things like that. So like I said, I tried to make it as random as possible, but not scary. Like there's nothing that jumps out at you or whatever. I did want to add a different type of creature that randomly will print things. I call it whispering. So like if you enter a room with that thing and you pull up like the list of objects, it will just like talk to you. It'll just like say something like out of the blue. Yeah. So that's that's my game, if you want to call it a game. I don't know what to call it. Experience. It's just called it's called /home, but you just call it home. You know, but the idea is it's stylized like
I love the experience.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
You can have the ghost say, "What's up, buddy?"
Is there
I can't
anything
turn
else?
things off wrong.
I don't have anything. comments. Does anyone have any questions? I suppose I should ask that. There was no engine behind this. It's all coded from scratch in Python. So most of my time was spent making the system, the command system underneath. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff, for letting me use your computer. Man.
Thank you for letting me steal your idea.
Oh, really?
Cool. I think that's it, right? Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That's it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Just turn it into a more graphical thing.
Oh,
Because it's all like, it's like this thing in your head.
Yeah,
It's like your memory.
it's very versatile.
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
Exactly. I think that's your sense.
I'd like to see a way to player to pay more attention.
Thank you guys for your presentations and for coming. And this weekend was a total blast. I loved having you here. I'm so glad that you guys showed up. I had a blast. And yay to next year's Global Game Jam.
Thanks, everyone.
And to the people watching. See you next year.
To everyone who bought food.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
We love you all for bringing us food. We are hungry people.
Not anymore.
No,
We
yeah,
are food.
we were hungry people.
Yeah, that was part of our mission statement. And just